Surprise, surprise, surprise. Welcome to a program all about vets. We have not had a program all about vets for a long time. And so what we're going to try to do in the next couple of months, we're going to be regular, and we're going to start things by kicking things off with some good information today. So we got a lot loaded, a lot to get on the shotgun and get out to you. We'll be right back right after the other end of this commercial.
Hi, I'm Mayor Skip Henderson. No matter who we are, parents, business owners, faith leaders, teachers, vaccines help keep us healthy so we're free to do the things we want to do. There are vaccines we need as adults to help protect us from shingles, pneumonia, and the flu. It's easy to find out which ones you need. Just ask your doctor or your pharmacist. I'm so proud of how we support each other in our community. So let's knock it out of the park. Join me in making sure that you're up to date on your adult vaccinations. When you're protected, our community is stronger.
Told you we'd be back. This program all about vets. To some of you who haven't seen the program for a while or maybe just getting it, this program is all about vets. So many things pertain to the women and men who put on a uniform in the armed forces and protect the precious freedoms that we have. So many issues that are affecting them even now. And so that's what this program is about. And I have to my right a very, very, very special friend, Chief Leroy Davis. He's Navy, I'm Army. When I first met Leroy, the one thing that I recognized about him, we were kindred spirits. We were very deeply involved in the veteran community and concerned about veterans and willing to put our money where our mouth is by being involved. And so I want Leroy to take a little bit of time and just tell you all the things that he's been involved in, still being involved in. And Leroy is going to be a regular guest on this program because when he's doing something, I'm his left hand. When I'm doing something, he's my left hand. And so with no further ado, this is my friend, Chief Leroy Davis.
How's it going, Pop?
Oh, doing fine.
It's good to be here. It's good to be back. Mm-hmm. The virus have kept us away for more than 2 years now.
That's right.
So now we're back in full motion as far as doing what we do to help veterans in our community and their families.
Right.
Now, one of the things that we've just done last week which was October the 14th, is we had a female veteran stand down in Phoenix City at the Mother Mary Mission.
And I'm glad that you did that, because over the years, and you can correct me on this it's only been, I think, within the past maybe 15 years that females were excluded, and some of the illnesses that permitted to female individuals in the military were overlooked as far as getting any kind of compensation and whatever. And so I'm so glad that it has shifted to be all inclusive of all military veterans.
And this was my third female veteran stand down. And the reason I've been doing them is because we know that when the VA was first established, it was the Veteran Administration.
Right.
And it was geared totally for men.
That's exactly.
Nothing for women. So they've been had to outsource women from everywhere. Women have to drive from here to Dothan or from here to Atlanta to get the treatment that they need. But now with the new clinic that they just built up on Mobley Road up there, Portershire, the women don't have to go nowhere but right up there, and they got a full section that's dedicated to women. So the purpose of the female veteran stand down is to educate women that they can get full service at the VA hospital or clinic now.
And to many of our viewers, we worked very hard for that. Leroy and I both attended many meetings to have that, because there were so many things going back, shifting here, shifting there. Here in Columbus, Georgia, and what I like about this area is Columbus, when they say Tri-City area, they definitely mean it. Columbus, Phoenix City, and Fort Benning. You don't have that type of synergy in every area among three organizations, 3 cities, 3 municipalities like that. And so there was a lot of politics going on about it, and Leroy and I were in the fray at council and whatever, making sure that center got here because of the number of female veterans in Phoenix City and Columbus, Georgia.
Yes, and you know, the Chattahoochee Valley is rich with military history. People who have served, and they came here and they love the valley. So they either retired and bought a home here in Columbus or Phoenix City or Fort Mitchell or even out in Lee County.
Right.
So, you know, we just got to be grateful because you take a person, for instance, who lived from Philadelphia
Right.
or from Chicago or from California, and they come here and they fall in love because it's perfect weather year round.
That's exactly.
Perfect weather year round. The schools are good, everything. So hey, why not stay here? And so if they're going to stay here, we need to make sure that we can do everything possible for them. We need to make sure that they know where the VA hospital is, the clinics are, and how they're going to get there.
Right.
And then we need to have people to help them file their claims to get their benefits. And those are some of the things that we do as a tag team, is to help them navigate the VA system.
That's right. Now, Leroy, because and the other thing that really impressed me about you, and it wasn't you that told me, it was the people in the community that told me. That's why I zeroed in. I said, let me just watch this. At first, I said, let me just watch this. He's really doing all the things that people, and you've even done one of the forerunners on the vet to vet.
Mm-hmm. I was one of the initial people, a guy by the name of Drew. He brought me in and several others, and we established Southeast Vet to Vet at Tuskegee VA Hospital. And so it spread it from not just being at Tuskegee, but being at the Montgomery VA Hospital,
Right.
the Birmingham VA Hospital, and also being at the clinics here in Columbus.
Right.
So, and the purpose of Vet to Vet is people veterans like yourself and I, who have issues, whether with PTSD or TBI, they need someone to talk to.
Right.
And they feel comfortable talking to other veterans.
That's exactly
So when we
right.
hold those meetings, the only someone who can come in those meetings are veterans.
Right.
But if you need help, right then, we had an open door policy with the VA doctors that we could walk you right in to see a psychologist or a psychiatrist. So that's the good thing about Vet to Vet.
Right. And I also know that Leroy's been involved in for many years with the Veterans Court system.
Mm-hmm.
Would you, and just to elaborate on what Chief Davis was saying, a lot of people don't realize a veteran does not go through military service alone. Just like in civilian life, we have family members.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to try to highlight there are specific pressures in the military that in civilian life you don't have. And the constant moves with families and adds a lot of stress, not only on that veteran, but on the family members as well. And I'm just so thankful nowadays that with the technology and the research that they realize that even with some of the children, they have separation anxiety. I can remember calling from overseas, and it would hit me because my children would get on the phone and be off the phone in a hot minute, and not being briefed, not knowing anything about psychology. That was their defense mechanism because of missing me. But these are things that wear and tear on the family. And so when a veteran comes out, it's an acclimation, isn't it, Leroy?
Oh yes, oh yeah.
And you have to acclimate yourself to civilian life, and it's not in all the ways an easy transition. There are specific military-related issues, and so having vet to vet. The other thing that I know Leroy's been involved in is the Veterans Court, which is it's a godsend for the veterans, because if a veteran steps over the line and does something that they shouldn't do, the veteran has an opportunity to have counseling, speaking with individuals about their specific problems, and without having a black mark on them, because I think it's a travesty for someone to go through military service and go through psychological problems, and then, yes, if they committed indiscretion, if they need to pay for it, but I think they need to be given an opportunity to really, for redress. I guess that's the easiest way to say it.
Well, Papa, I'm glad you brought that up, and it's called Veterans Treatment Court.
Good.
And the thing is, which is so amazing about it, is that it's spreading like wildfire all across the country. And believe it or not, because we are twin cities, Phoenix City and Columbus, each one of has a Veterans Treatment Court.
That's exactly
Muskogee
right.
County Veterans Treatment
Right.
Court and Russell County Veterans Treatment Court.
Exactly right.
And one of the things that people need to understand is that when a soldier comes back, one of the unique things that we have here at Fort Benning, other than just infantry training and paratroop training, is we have the Rangers here,
Right.
and we also have sniper school
Right.
here. So when a veteran comes back from combat and he's seen a lot of things and done a lot of things, sometimes that veterans need counseling from a psychologist or a counselor.
That's exactly right.
So once we send them to programs, not we, and I say we, but once the Army sends them to a program and they don't regroup the way the Army think they should regroup, they end up getting a medical discharge or honorable discharge, and then they have to come into the VA system. So they may get 100% disability, 90% disability, or whatever. So now it's up to us, because if we put these people, if the Army put them into a program and all of a sudden they're discharged, they're not in a program anymore. So that means they're not, maybe not getting the medication that they need.
Right.
And so therefore there may be some domestic violence that happens.
Right.
There may be a drunken driving
Right.
ticket, something to that offense, and they end up in jail. So when they end up in jail, as far as like on my side of the river, then myself or either Dr. Margarita High will go to the jail and interview them and let them fill out an application to come into Veterans Treatment Court.
Right.
And once they have been accepted into Veterans Treatment Court, our next move is to get them into a treatment program. Veterans Treatment Court, just like the other 3 specialty courts that we have,
Right.
which is drug court and mental health court,
Right.
it's all about treatment, not incarceration.
That's exactly
So
right.
our first goal is to get them in a program. And normally it's a short-term program, which is 28 days or 30 days, maybe 45 days. And when they come back, we have to understand that there will be a relapse.
Right.
You just can't send somebody away for 45 days to a treatment
Right.
and expect them to be totally cured. Because it takes a while.
it takes a
and
while.
then they got to separate themselves from the people who helped got them
Right.
to that point where they were. What I mean, the people who helped, if you was around somebody who was smoking marijuana
Right.
or doing drugs,
Or
then you
drinking,
don't, or
etc.
drinking,
Mhm.
you don't need to be around them anymore.
That's
So
exactly
that's
right.
the hardest part, is to get them to make new friends.
Right.
So and then if they have a relapse, then we have to send them back to another program.
Right.
And I've found that what we've been successful in Russell County is sending them to a 6-month program. And that's a hard thing to do for some veterans to say, okay, I'm going to separate you from your family or from your friend for 6 months
Yes.
in a treatment program.
Right.
But that treatment program is about treatment and about education at the same time.
Right.
So
right.
you may not have skills in utilizing a computer or anything like that, but while you're in that treatment program, being treated for whether it's alcohol or drugs or whatever, they're gonna be doing other things with you as well. Job training if you need it, whatever. Matter of fact, they may even help you get a part-time job while
That's
you're there
exactly right.
to keep some money in your pocket.
Right.
So that's what makes veteran treatment court so important, is because it's about treatment and not incarceration.
Right. And I'm going to tell you that long-range program is highly successful because you want to know what it's like. It's really behavior modification, and behavior modification does take a long time in doing something like this here. I know we're filling you with a whole bunch of information. I said we're trying to play catch up, and we've been going because of the pandemic. We're going to talk about how the pandemic affected the Veterans Day Parade, as well as the Leroy's Baby, which is the Veterans Banquet, which was a program that was delayed because of the pandemic, and that we really need to get back again. A highly successful program that he envisioned, and it helps to bring all of us veterans together to talk about the subtleties that are affecting the whole veteran population in the Tri-City area. So guess what? We're going to take a short break, but we're going to be right back on the other side of this commercial.
Hi, I'm Mayor Skip Henderson. No matter who we are, parents, business owners, faith leaders, teachers, vaccines help keep us healthy so we're free to do the things we want to do. There are vaccines we need as adults to help protect us from shingles, pneumonia, and the flu. It's easy to find out which ones you need. Just ask your doctor or your pharmacist. I'm so proud of how we support each other in our community. So let's knock it out of the park. Join me in making sure that you're up to date on your adult vaccinations. When you're protected, our community is stronger.
Welcome back to All About Vets. We're giving you all a lot of information here with my friend, Chief Leroy Davis, and talking about all the things that he and I are involved in the community. And I'm going to have Chief Davis give his contact information, because if you would like to volunteer, if you'd like to call him, if you have a problem or situation, you can give him a call, because trust me when I tell you, he is Johnny on the spot. The producer of the program here, the one who makes everything work here, Mr. Mike King, he talked about something that happened about 3 or 4 or 5 years ago when he mentioned to me. I was able to call Chief Davis, and Chief Davis took care of that veteran. It dealt with his not getting the compensation that he should have had when he got out of the military. And so we're filling you with a lot. We're going to be more coming on monthly, because there's always something coming on happening in the veteran community. But Chief Davis, talk about your baby, which is the Veterans Banquet. When Leroy came up with the idea, in fact, he saw me at a friend's mother's funeral, and he yelled at me. He said, "I'd like to get something started that would buttress your Veterans Day parade." Do you remember that, Leroy?
Yes, I do. And like you say, the banquet is my baby. But there's 9 organizations within the Chattahoochee Valley Veterans Organization.
Why don't you talk?
And from the American Legions to the Disabled American Veteran, to St. James Veterans. I mean, all of them are outstanding organizations. Right. And the funds that come from the Veterans Banquet goes to each one of those organizations so that they can help veterans that they take care of in the Valley area here.
Right.
So American Legion, they adopt certain schools and do different things in the community. The DAV, they have their special things that they do, which is help doing claims and such things of that nature. St. James Veterans, they have their things that they do. But each one of them does something to help veterans. And and veterans' children, and children, period, because you cannot go into a school and say, okay, let me see what veterans' children you have.
Right.
So when we go into a school, and whether it's back to school supplies or giving out bikes for Christmas and different things like that, it's to help all the children in that specific area that American Legion post covers, or that DAV post cover. Right. We don't show favoritism when it comes to children.
Sure.
So, because that's our future.
That's
the
exactly
children
right.
are our future, whether their parents served or didn't serve.
Right.
So when we work to help children, it's all children when
Right.
we go into a school.
And so what was so unique about the Veterans Banquet, Leroy's brainchild, is that it serves a purpose to fund the organizations so that each organization can do what their specific goals are. As you mentioned, American Legion, they've identified various schools that they center in on there. Then you have the DAV. DAV helps so many different veterans and widows of veterans on a daily basis, and a lot of other organizations. That's the funding that's raised for the banquet. The money that the banquet raises goes to those organizations. But on the other end, it really gives the veterans time to sit down and to not only break bread, have a day that they know that they're going to be able to get together. And this is the unique part. Because we serve in so many different areas, you might have someone in the Army that served with someone stationed on a Navy base. You find so many different things that are advantageous with something like that. One of which is sitting down and really talking about specific needs in specific areas in our community. And that's really the ideal part, because so much is gleaned from the Veterans Banquet besides just sitting down there and breaking bread? And I'd like for you to talk about that and the speakers that you've had.
Well, in the past, we've had great speakers. One of the greatest, a friend of mine who's the commander of American Legion Post 333, Commander Vicky Dykes, she recommended, and we was able to get the Surgeon General of the Army at our last banquet.
That's awesome.
Flew in from Washington, D.C. When we talked to her on the phone before she came, her staff said, when we said that this particular Veterans Day banquet was going to be about women service in the military, she said, I know where I'm going to speak on Veterans Day. I will be in Columbus, Georgia at the Chattahoochee Valley Veterans Organization banquet because we were honoring women.
Yes.
And she was the first female Surgeon General, and she's a black female in the Army. So
Awesome.
we was able to get people like that. We've had the generals, General Miller.
General Miller, I remember that.
From the base, General Miller. And I remember so specifically because General Miller said we had General Jerry White there, and we had Senator Ed Harbison, and
right.
It was honoring Vietnam veterans.
Right.
And so we gave Senator Harbison 5 minutes to talk, and we gave General Miller 5 minutes to talk, and General Miller went a little over, not General Miller, but General White.
White, yeah.
And he went a little over. And I had to pull his coattail a little bit. and he said, I don't know what you put a general up there and say you only going to give him 5 minutes. You know, he's going to take more. But anyway.
I remember that. That was one of I enjoyed all of the Veterans Banquet. And I missed the Veterans Banquet. And I like to, I'm all the time saying that Columbus is a very warm community. I was stationed at Port Louis, Washington, but I knew where I was coming back. I knew I was coming back here because I loved it out there at Port Louis, Washington. It was hunting, fishing. I love the people out there. But the people here in our Tri-City area are what I call folks. I don't think I have to explain. We're folks. And really, that's what really drove me back here. And it's a very warm-hearted community and very appreciative, Leroy, of veterans and the service that veterans render.
And let me say this, Pop, before you go to further, while it's on my mind, to give General Miller some credit because he was a great speaker. And as you know, he left here and he climbed all the way to the 4-star. So he's a 4-star general now.
Right. Yes.
And we've been fortunately to have the generals that come to Fort Benning. The majority of them that leaves here go either 3-star, 4-star.
Exactly.
So we are batting good. We're doing good, and we just got to continue to talk about this banquet because now that we slowed up a little with the virus ain't gone.
No.
The virus ain't gone.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so we got to work and we got to educate our people on contact tracing.
That's correct.
And everything so that we can do the right thing in order to get back in to have our banquet. So I took a course. I want to let you know, I took a course on contact tracing so that when we started talking about this banquet and doing things, and people ask me questions, that I can answer questions about the virus and what we need to do and how we need to do if we're going to have this banquet again.
And that's exactly right.
What the CDC is saying right now, this could be a bad winter. And if it's a bad winter for the COVID and flu at the same time and pneumonia, then and that's why we're not having the banquet this year.
Right.
But we can prepare now for next year.
That's exactly right.
But we got to be, we got to know the signs, know what to look out for to take care of our veterans because our veterans are getting older a lot.
Yes.
And then so they are more susceptible to getting the virus.
Right.
So we've got to know how to protect them, at least try to protect them.
Right.
Because we can't, you can take a horse to water, but you can't make them drink.
Can't make them drink. You can't make them drink.
So I just wanted to throw that in because in order for us to be successful, having the parade is great because we're out in open air.
Sure.
And we're not right up under each other. But with that banquet, you're closed in.
Right.
So we've got to educate ourselves and make sure that we are ready to get
Right.
back in there.
Right. But I want to serve the purpose that the state that the banquet is more about just sitting down there breaking bread.
Mhm.
And I'm glad you brought up the fact that it's all the funding from the Veterans Banquet actually goes to those various organizations doing so much in the community.
Right. Those 9 organizations that's a part of the Chattahoochee Valley Veterans Organization. That's where that funding goes
That's
back
where
to.
that funding goes to. That's a very important purpose. Now, speaking about the Veterans Day Parade, because of the pandemic, we haven't had a Veterans Day Parade in 2 years. But guess what? The Veterans Day Parade is going to be Saturday, November the 12th, starting at 9:45. And you can get your applications on the city website or the Parks and Recs office. And after the Veterans Day Parade, from 2 to 5 at the Civic Center, we're going to have a Veterans Block Party from 2 to 5. Bring a lawn chair. We have entertainment. Many of our local artists have volunteered pro bono to perform there. And it gives you an opportunity to come out and also to say thank you to our women and men who wore our uniform. It's going to be an awesome time, first time, trying to spread the word to let people know that there's going to be a Veterans Day Parade, first of all. And secondly, I wanted to put like an icing on the cake by having a Veterans Block Party so individuals can come out. Many of the veterans who haven't seen each other, many of the people in the community want to say thank you to the veterans and listen to some really good music and the performances pro bono by many of our very, very, very patriotic and good artists here. DJ Chip Mitchell is going to be the master of ceremony. He has done the Veterans Day Parade for so many years, brings his own equipment, sets up at 7 o'clock. We kick off activities about 9. Brings his own material, and he and Miller Robeson, who Miller's going to another area, Purdue and Mary Rollins another area. So it's going to be at the Civic Center. He's going to be the master of ceremony for the Veterans Day Parade. It's going to be awesome. I'm just so excited about it that we are having the Veterans Day Parade again, because so many people in the community have been asking me, but I erred on the side of safety.
Mm-hmm.
On the side of safety. And for the Veterans Day Parade, Ms. Rosalind Giles and Ms. Rita Sunshine Beasley are going to be the mistresses of ceremony, and DJ Chip Mitchell is going to be the master of ceremonies. And so we're really excited about this here. This is a very patriotic community. Give you an opportunity to come out and wave. And that's, riding, when we were in the parade, what gets you? I see the children out there waving and saying, we love the vets.
Right.
I see the parents. There's so many of the family members. It's just
And they
such
make
an
these
exciting
little
thing.
signs, the children, they make these little signs saying thank you for your service. And that's good. And the block party is going to be outdoors. So that's another sign of that Pop is looking out for you, because by being outside, the wind is blowing and,
Yep.
and you can get a little separation.
Right.
And you know that we're not
Closed
closed in.
Mhm.
So that's a good thing.
Yeah, that's going to be at the Civic Center on the backside where that stage is already set up. And over the 2 years, I had so many people ask, and Pops, can we do this and that? But you have to think, as Leroy said, that virus wreaked havoc internationally, and so we really have to be careful. And so you want to know something, Leroy? We've covered so many different topics. How can they contact you, Leroy?
Well, you can contact me. My number is 706-718-4440. And my email address is Leroy, Leroy, JR56@hotmail.com.
That's my partner right over here, Leroy. We're both of us are working in the community for veterans. And if you want to, nothing happens without volunteering. Nothing happens without having volunteers. And so we're looking for volunteers for the Veterans Banquet. I'm looking for volunteers. We need individuals at the staging area during the Veterans Day Parade. And so everybody knows my contact information, 706-442-0249, or POPS, P-O-P-S, 9784@AOL.com, or POPS9784@gmail.com. You know, Leroy, to get back
And
at all.
let me say this now, Pop, before you go. We're also looking for sponsors. So if you're out there and you want to help us continue to do the things that we do in our community for veterans and their families, and you want to donate to the Chattahoochee Valley Veterans Organization, give me a call. And I'll tell you how you can help sponsor us, or you can tell me what you want to do
There we go.
to sponsor us. But nothing is too small, okay? So if you want to help us, give me a call and become a sponsor and let the world know what you're doing to support your veterans and your active duty, because we,
Yes.
at our banquet, we award our active duty soldier of the year, paratrooper of the year, so many things, and then we honor their spouses.
Right.
So if you want to be a sponsor, give us a call. You can give it to me, or you can give it to Pop, and he'll give it to me.
And remember, it's all about vets. And so until next time, I always say this here. Everybody is somebody's loved one. And so I want you to be good and kind to yourself because God loves you. Bye-bye now.
Hey, Daddy! Hi, Daddy!